Well, planting season is wrapping up, and now it's time for gardeners to focus on keeping those plants healthy and growing throughout the summer without killing them off. Here with the dirt on spring plants, we have Ropp's Flower Factory and Greenhouse, and Roger Cramer joining me, bandana and all. Hi, Roger.
It is a golden day here in Gibson City.
As it is always, I believe. Talk to us about sort of where we are in the calendar and what that means for planting versus maintenance. I would have to think we're kind of near the end of the planting season.
Well, actually, our planting season continues all the way through any day the ground's not frozen. So we're planting, you're able to plant anytime, anywhere, anytime. So, but as far as the spring plantings, there'll be a lot of plantings here for the next couple weeks yet. Trees, shrubs, perennials are really kicking into that time of year. So we start talking about care issues, and I always talk about watering first. And when you do water, you want to water thoroughly. Like we got a hanging basket here, and when you water this, you want to make sure when you water it, it goes all the way through and drips out the bottom. You know, I always joke, that lady come in and goes, well, I put a cup of water on my plant every day. And the plant looked awful. So I popped it out of the pot, turned it over, and the top inch was wet. So when you water, you got to water thoroughly. And there's also another reason for that. You want to rinse out the salts and the fertilizers down through the plant. So, and keeping them watered thoroughly, especially when it gets hot and dry and windy. Takes a lot of water.
I think the fear is always that you're going to either starve it or drown it when it comes to water. And I guess you got to, with a hanging basket, you can sort of see when it's come all the way through. And does that indicate that you're done?
Yeah, when you watered it thoroughly, the water's dripping out the bottom, and that tends to tell you, hey, I've watered it well, and you'll get a handle on it. I mean, the best thing you do is you just stick your finger in there and go, man, that's moist. Or if you think it's going to be a hot, sunny day, go ahead and water it. And then we always recommend if you have an option to do this, water things in the morning. If you water in the evening, the problem is it's like if you were laying in the yard wet all night, it creates more disease issues. So if you water in the morning, the plant's taking up the moisture in the growing period, and then it's dry during the night. It'll dry down and won't be wet. It'll less disease, less problems. So if you can water in the morning. Super important.
So it's bad for our plants and for us personally to lay in the yard wet all night long, is what you're saying.
Yes, okay. Not a healthy plant.
Right.
I just try to put it in terms that's easy for me to remember.
And I will never forget that, Roger, I promise you. Let's talk about fertilizer and feeding these plants. What do we need to know?
Well, one of my soapbox things is you got to feed your plants. And you like the other analogy. This analogy is if you have pets, you feed your pets, right? What happens if you don't feed your pets?
You end up flushing a goldfish.
Yes. So your plants can't run off. So they're going to die if you don't feed them. So you must feed your plants. So there's a couple ways you can do that. One is you can initially you can plant your plants in potting soil that has some fertilizer in it. And that's a good way to go. It'll give it a baseline of fertilizer. The other way to go is we use Miracle-Gro fertilizer. It's a water-soluble fertilizer. It's a high quality, good for your plants. Can't go wrong with this. This material, if it's in a container, you need to fertilize every 7 days. 7 to 14 days.
Okay.
Less if it's in the ground, more if it's in a container, because those containers, every time you water them, maybe you're watering every day, it rinses that fertilizer out.
Got it.
If you're like me, I'm that guy that goes, I'll mix up the fertilizer next time. Oh, I'll mix up the fertilizer next time. Well, then all of a sudden 2 or 3 weeks goes by. I go, man, my plants look a little anemic.
Yeah,
they need to be fed.
Well, Roger, we're going to have to leave this last one for our website. This will be our teaser because we've run out of time.
Important.
Important. You tell us what it is. This is what we call a tease in the business, and we'll point people to CILiving.tv, and it'll force them to go get the most important thing there.
Osmocote.
Osmocote.
It's a slow-release fertilizer.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm sorry we ran out of time, but CILiving.tv.
Hey, that's fine, man. We'll do this again.
Perfect. We absolutely will. There's a look at the Ropp's Facebook page. We'll connect you with all of that, including all those tips and tricks Roger just gave us at CILiving.tv. Thank you, Roger.